Hola a todos y bienvenidos a este nuevo video. Hoy vamos a hablar de un tema muy importante para quienes están aprendiendo inglés: cómo alcanzar la fluidez. Muchas veces pensamos que la fluidez significa hablar rápido o no cometer errores, pero en realidad se trata de comunicarse con naturalidad y confianza. En este episodio escucharás consejos prácticos, explicaciones claras y ejercicios que te ayudarán a mejorar paso a paso hasta lograr una comunicación más fluida en inglés. Ahora sí, comencemos.
Hello everyone, and welcome to today's podcast. My name is James, and I'm very happy you're here. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most common goals for English learners all over the world: reaching fluency. Fluency is something many people imagine as speaking quickly or perfectly, but in reality, fluency is much more simple and much more natural. It is about communication. It is about expressing your thoughts in a way that feels smooth, confident, and connected. Even if you make mistakes, and you will, fluency allows you to keep the conversation flowing without fear. To start, let's think about what fluency actually looks like in everyday life. Imagine having a conversation with a friend. You don't need to stop after every word. You don't need to translate in your head. And you don't panic when you don't know the perfect expression. Instead, you speak naturally, you keep the rhythm, and the other person understands you. That is fluency. Communication that feels alive and real, not robotic or forced. Now, how do we get there? One of the first keys is listening. Listening gives your brain the chance to absorb the rhythm and melody of English. When you listen every day, you begin to notice the patterns, the way words connect, the way sentences rise and fall, and the expressions that repeat again and again. Think about music. When you listen to a song many times, the lyrics get stuck in your head. The same happens with English. Consistent listening makes the language part of you. Another important factor is speaking. Many learners spend years studying grammar and vocabulary, but they avoid speaking because they are afraid of mistakes. The problem is that fluency only grows when you actually use the language. Speaking is like exercising a muscle. If you only read or listen, you understand more, but you don't develop the strength to produce words naturally. Speaking every day, even if you are alone, is the fastest way to build fluency. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be consistent. When it comes to vocabulary, fluency is not about knowing thousands of isolated words. It's about knowing the right words in the right combinations. English is full of expressions and collocations, and learning these makes your speech sound natural. For example, instead of learning decision as a single word, it's far better to learn make a decision or take an important decision. These chunks of language are what native speakers use every day, and when you know them, you don't have to invent sentences word by word. You simply recall a phrase that already exists. Consistency is another essential part of the process. Fluency doesn't happen overnight. It's built step by step, day by day. Many learners make the mistake of studying hard for a short period and then stopping completely. But fluency requires a steady rhythm. 15 minutes a day, every day, will take you further than 2 hours once a week. Think of it as planting seeds. If you water the plant a little every day, it grows strong. If you pour a lot of water once a month, it struggles. The same principle applies to your English practice. Mindset also plays a powerful role. If you believe that fluency means perfection, you will always feel discouraged. But if you understand that fluency is about connection and progress, then every conversation becomes an opportunity. Mistakes are not failures. They are evidence that you are learning. Every time you make an error, your brain adjusts, and the next time, you improve. The only real mistake is to remain silent. Let's also talk about patience. Many learners want results quickly, and when they don't see immediate progress, they feel frustrated. But fluency is like building a house. You can't expect it to appear in one day. You have to lay one brick at a time, and with consistency, the structure becomes stronger. If you look back after 6 months or a year of daily effort, you will realize how far you have come. Another thing to keep in mind is immersion. Surrounding yourself with English as much as possible accelerates fluency. Change your phone to English, watch movies without subtitles, read short articles online, or even think in English when you're alone. The more your brain lives in the language, the faster it becomes natural. Even if you don't live in an English-speaking country, you can create an English environment around you. Finally, remember that fluency is not the final destination. It's part of the journey. Even fluent speakers continue learning. There will always be new words, new expressions, and new challenges. The goal is not to finish learning English, but to enjoy the process of using it. Fluency gives you the freedom to express yourself, to connect with others, and to explore new opportunities. Fluency also grows when you connect English to your emotions. Think about the songs you love or the movies that move you. When language is tied to feelings, your brain remembers it much more strongly. That's why singing in English, quoting your favorite shows, or even repeating powerful lines can help the words stick naturally. Another strategy is storytelling. When you practice telling stories in English, you learn how to connect sentences smoothly. A story has a beginning, middle, and end. By practicing this flow, your speaking also becomes more fluid. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just talk about what happened yesterday, a funny memory, or a dream you had. Stories make your English alive. Fluency also depends on rhythm. English has its own music, with stressed and unstressed syllables. If you pay attention to this rhythm, your speech will sound more natural. You can practice by shadowing, listening to a native speaker and repeating immediately, copying their tone and speed. This technique trains your ear and your mouth at the same time. Confidence is another hidden key. Many learners actually know enough English to communicate, but fear holds them back. They worry too much about mistakes, grammar, or what others might think. Fluency requires courage. The moment you accept that mistakes are part of the process, you set yourself free to speak more naturally. Another area to focus on is flexibility. Fluent speakers don't always know the perfect word, but they know how to adapt. If you forget a word, you can explain it another way. For example, if you forget the word umbrella, you can say the thing you use when it rains. This ability keeps your conversation flowing, which is the essence of fluency. Surrounding yourself with positive influences also helps. If you join communities where people are learning and practicing English, you feel motivated and supported. Isolation makes fluency harder, but connection gives you energy. Celebrate your progress with others, and you'll notice that learning becomes more enjoyable. Another point to remember is balance. Fluency is not only about speaking quickly, it's also about listening and giving space in a conversation. A fluent speaker knows how to respond, but also how to ask questions, how to pause, and how to keep a dialogue alive. Balance between speaking and listening creates real communication. Technology today is an incredible tool for fluency. With apps, online tutors, podcasts, and AI tools, you can create a personalized environment for practice. The key is not just to consume content, but to interact with it, repeat, record yourself, and compare. Active use of technology transforms it from entertainment into real practice. Another overlooked aspect is energy. Your physical and mental state influences fluency. If you're tired, stressed, or distracted, your words come slower. But when you're relaxed and energized, your English flows more easily. That's why rest, exercise, and a clear mind are part of language learning too. Lastly, remember that fluency is personal. Everyone's journey looks different. Some reach it faster, others take more time. Some use English for business, others for travel, others for friendship. Don't compare your progress to others. Compare yourself to your past self, and you will see how far you've come. Fluency is not a single skill. It is a collection of habits, attitudes, and experiences that work together. The more you explore these areas, the stronger your English becomes. And little by little, without even noticing, you wake up one day realizing you are fluent.
Y así terminamos este episodio. Recuerda, la fluidez no es perfección, es comunicación. Practica cada día, mantén la confianza y verás cómo tu inglés mejora paso a paso. Gracias por acompañarnos y nos vemos en el próximo video.